Hey, how are you doing, Sam?
I'm doing really good. I actually woke up knowing that it was Friday today, so it's very good.
Instead of Blur's Day.
Day, yeah. It's one of
That's what
those
every
days
day
that has a Y at the end, yeah.
is. Yeah, I, I I know a lot of people who feel like they're just coming back mentally, and because
Yeah,
we're starting, it feels like just right now there's a flood of, okay, this is going to be it, so let's pivot and go online. So
yeah,
there's a flood of activity again. It's
yeah,
making me feel alive again and kind of
yeah.
like I have a purpose again.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I've had a calmer 2, 3, 4 weeks, but with a couple of like really just wretched, down the tubes hit skids moments, where it's just like, okay, I don't want to do this. I can't do this, and,
What do you do when that happens?
the thing that always gets me out of my stew is to do things for other people. And I'm known for baking shortbread. So I usually bake up a pan of shortbread, tie my mask on, and then deliver it to all my friends' doorsteps.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Need to move in next door.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I find that I can be just sort of at my most miserable when I'm navel gazing. And it's not that I think service is the only key to anything. It's just that what gets me out of my stew is
Yeah,
to just like stop staring at what's bothering me and find other things to be happy about.
yeah.
And
I that's exactly
yeah,
what works for me
yeah,
as well. Although sometimes I just go to bed, but it's been, and at first for me it was just a couple of weeks of really really bad depression, and like the
mhm,
worst I've ever been. And then I realized I was forgetting my medication half the days because my schedule was so off. And
yeah,
then
yeah,
now it just hits me once every 5 or 6 days,
yeah,
and I just crash but I'm able to turn, and that's it. I'm able to get out of
yeah,
navel gazing is a perfect thing. Stop navel gazing and get out and
yeah,
look outward and help somebody. It's interesting how we think, if you look at the news, that is so much bad out there, and there is. But if
yeah.
you open your eyes, turn off the news, and look at the
Mhm.
world right where you are, there's so much good.
Yes, there
So much
is.
good.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool things going on. This is probably gonna make me emotional. A really dear friend of mine had a baby over the weekend, and I was I didn't realize quite how much I was holding my breath for her to have a safe delivery in these times.
Yeah.
That in the United States, maternal mortality isn't where it ought to be. So giving birth is a risky affair. And in the middle of a virus, I knew that she wouldn't be able to have her mom there. I knew that was going to be really, really hard for her because she and her mom are super, super tight. And she had been looking forward for a really long time to be able to share this experience with her mom. And, none of it went down the way it was supposed to. But the little girl is here. She and mama are safe. Daddy can't stop grinning. This little one has every single thing that a baby should have, which is two people that love them and want them here.
Mm.
And I think that at some level represents an unquenchable hope for us, that we're still making babies, we're still adopting dogs, we're still, we're still picking up kittens, we're still acting as if life will go on, even though our heads are thinking perhaps it won't. And
But
I
it will.
and I, the human imperative is survival, right? And I think, especially as creatives, I think we have an upper hand because in the problem solving skills that we are capable of using, most of us try to bring a certain amount of logic to it. Some people bring faith to it. It's not my personal brand of logic. But creatives have a creative way of solving problems. Our resilience is really creative. Like all of us in our little businesses are taking this on and going, all right, how do I pivot in this mess? You know, I don't know about you. I was having requests for doing video lectures and video teaching before I had even wrapped my head around the idea that maybe I should look up trying to figure out how to do that.
That's good. Sam, tell me about, I forgot to ask where you are and what it looks like, and tell me about your business.
Okay, I am in Portland, Oregon. I mean, the other Portland. I've been told off by the Portland, Maine people that I should just say Portland. For those that live in Portland, I'm in Beaverton. For those that don't live in Oregon, I live in Portland. I am Hunter's Design Studio. I'm a pattern designer. This is my 9th year in business. I also am a fine artist. I have an MFA in fine art. And I am a former tech career person. I am mom to one absolutely incredible, makes me proud every day, 35-year-old kiddo, Steve, who is married to the lovely Jessica. And they live in Michigan, which is kind of hard, but we talk a lot. And I'm a big fan of what they're doing to keep their relationship going in this hot mess. And we are creative business people. So I already was kind of like coming off the road. I love, love, love teaching. I don't love doing it with 350-pound suitcases.
Really?
Just don't. So I was already starting up my home studio. I have the ability to teach 6 people within my home studio. Fantastic. So I was looking at running local classes. I was just getting, you know, my feet, you know, I was just getting the community aware that I was doing it. And then we got locked down. And right now, next week, I'm running my first class online live. I reached out to my newsletter readership and I said, I'm going to give this a go. I need 4 willing volunteers, you know, for a cheap class, but your responsibility is to help me make this, you know, a really tight and strong experience. And they were like, yay, I finally get to take a class with you. So we're going to give it a go. We're going to make my little messenger bag pattern virtually in the studio on Zoom.
Fabulous.
We're going to give it a go. I think we can keep finding ways to do this. I do feel that pattern designers have kind of gotten a little bit left behind in the wonderful support that has come from our consumer community within quilting. Like they're really, really supporting their stores and getting their fabrics. And of course, there's a whole mask making thing. Please don't make me talk about that. But everybody's already, you know, got a lot of their stuff and they're filling holes when they need it. And patterns are kind of like falling through the hole a little bit. And I think they fall through the hole a little bit in general. We have this sort of mental idea out there that you can buy one and make 20 copies of it for your girlfriends, which you can't by law. No. And if you want us to keep making creative things, you have to support us.
Yeah. And pattern making is way more complicated than people think. I've been working for like a year and a half to develop my first patterns, which I think is where I met you on a group, a support group.
Yeah. Well, if you ever want me to help you out one-on-one, let me know. I'm always
slowly I'm learning all the things, like Illustrator and InDesign, and because I'm like a way out there art quilter, most of the stuff is not the kind of pattern thing, but I feel like how you do little things on the side just that are completely different from your main creative thing. Like I draft Celtic knots mostly when I'm flying on airplanes, you know, waiting for takeoff when you can't be reading or doing something. And then I started looking, going, these would be really, really, really cool quilts. So they would be, but forever. So, support the designers. That's a lot of work.
Definitely support the designers. You know, and be willing to pay for it. I mean, I know a lot of people who, okay, look, I get it if your budget's tight. Get it. We all have to figure out how to manage our frugalities. I'm with that. But you know, if you're the kind of nerd that watched The Witcher, toss a coin to the to the minstrel, to The Witcher. You know, I mean, help us out here because you want us to still stick around.
Yeah.
You know, if the more of us that die, the less choices you have for being inspired on how to use your fabric.
Right.
And for all of the
on this video, everybody, look down here. I'm going to put your website. So
okay, yeah, I've got a whole section on the website that's We're So Worth It that talks about value. Yeah, and I don't want to harp on this for too long, but one of the things that often happens in the conversations that I get into is people will say to me the equivalent of, I spent $150 on that fabric. I'm not spending $10 more on a pattern. And the thing that I always say to them is like, well, would you go to the store and buy, the pie and the stuffing and the gravy and the vegetables for Thanksgiving, but you steal the turkey? I don't think you would. And then people get a little uptight at me about like, oh, well, stealing is a rather harsh word. And it's kind of like, what else do you, okay, but there isn't another word for it. Somebody who steals is a thief.
Mm. Yeah, so let's just say,
yeah.
It's worth supporting the creatives and the artists who do the work behind the scenes that make it possible for the rest of us to have so much fun with the fabric and what we do.
Yeah.
So do you have anything you're working on right now?
I'm currently down the rabbit hole of making wordy quilts. I've been a word nerd my entire life. My book, Quilt Talk, is a book of paper piece lettering so that you can draft your own ideas. And I'm finding that, one of the things about the way Quilt Talk is written is while I gave you some patterns, after that I gave you an alphabet and you can go off and make your own thing. But a lot of us aren't comfortable with that framework or figure it out. A lot of us, and this is one of the things I think is amazing about the quilting industry, wherever you are in your journey in quilting, we have a way to meet you on that ground and bring you the products and services and lessons to help you enjoy right where you are.
It's such a huge ocean, isn't it?
It is.
It's one of the things I love. Like I teach fine art and design, right? And you're the one with the MFA. But I'm an English major. Words, talking words. But what I teach is applicable to the person who wants to make a 9-patch.
Yes.
As well as to the person who wants to go completely off and design their own piece from scratch.
Exactly.
And there's room for everybody. There
is room for everybody. And I think one of the things that we all need to do is work harder just being welcoming to everybody at every level. I know a lot of people that the activity of sewing is about the wine and the chocolate and the girlfriends as much as it is about the product. And so for them, a kit is gorgeous. They saw it, they liked it. It was the colors they thought was wonderful. It comes in a bag. They can just execute it while enjoying the wine, the chocolate, and the girlfriends, and they're on with it. And keep going. I don't quilt my own quilts anymore. It's never been my favorite part of the process. I have some magnificent long armors that I sub out to, and I'm so grateful for their help. And yet, a dear friend of mine, Christina Camelli, is like one of the queens of teaching you how to do free motion on your own machine. So we have a way, I love it. We have a way to meet you anywhere at all. So one of the things I'm doing is circle back, after producing an alphabet for people to use, is to actually make patterns that it's already all figured out for you. Just cut these out, snowball these corners, and you're going to have words down your quilt. I tend to have a little bit of a sort of either that kind of positive meme vibe of you got this and life is good and all those kind of things. And then I have a little subversive snarky bit that goes on as well that could be a little bit beep. I'm finding my way in those places with the lettering. And I'm finding it a little more enjoyable than just trying to crank out new alphabets.
Good.
So
that sounds really cool. I can't wait to see it. What advice would you give to people right now? All of our quilter friends who will be watching this.
All of our quilter friends. The thing that I would tell you is art always saves me. Whenever I'm at my wonkiest, if I engage art, and it can be as simple as digging in my library and opening a book full of pictures of art made by other people, and I have a lot of those books, to be inspired by other people's art, to make my own art, to doodle, to grab a coloring book and color in the holes that somebody else already made, which is effectively what we do as pattern designers. We give you instructions on how to fill the holes with your colors and all of those kinds of things. Is like, don't overlook the fact that the things that can give you comfort and have given you comfort in the past will give you comfort in the future. And I find that it calms me down, it lifts me up, it makes my world make sense to me. I think art is another language of communication, as much as French is, as much
It's a visual language.
Yes, it's very much a visual language. And look at how we use art to communicate a concept when our words have not been strong enough. Mm-hmm. Like, the meme game, political cartooning. A lot of the imagery we see has supporting words because the image is going to support the words and the words are going to support the image. Right. So I think that all of these people who think that the arts are not necessarily important, you need to look at how much art and design is around your life. One of my art professors always used to say that we are the lucky ones because we are the ones that have the distinct privilege of making this world beautiful enough to live in. Mm-hmm. And boy, I learned to take that to heart in his class. And I still very much feel it. Like, all of the things that we respond to are art. Netflix is art.
Yeah, there's so many ways that the visual language.
Yeah, we can go off.
You've been in spaces that are beautiful, architecture. I mean, the environment amount, a garden that's designed and beautiful, even if it's designed to look completely natural, will carry you through it and provide you feeding to the soul. And thank you. That saying, I'm going to take it.
Yes,
I'm going to share it in my classes as well, because that's exactly it. We are really fortunate and lucky to be part of that.
We are. And I go back to the fact that the people who, and I think everybody has an innate amount of art. I don't know how many times you've been approached when somebody looks at the work you make and they go, "Well, I can't draw a straight line with a pencil."
It's part of my lecture. This is my whole entire soapbox. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. You do have it within you. At some point, somebody probably talked you out of it.
And it's what you spend your time working with and learning, and any skill can be developed, and art can be taught, and it can be learned.
Yes.
And we can all together make the world a beautiful place.
We can. And the women that say this to me, I look at them and they've got beautiful hair, they've got beautiful makeup, they have a lovely manicure, their clothing has a vibe. And I kind of look at them like, okay, you have all this style, which I utterly lack. I'm like the queen of the, band t-shirt and yoga pants. And you tell me you don't have an artistic bone in your body, and I bet if I went into your home would be this
design.
So you do know what beauty means to you. It doesn't matter what beauty means to me. What matters is what beauty means to you. And find a way to just constantly augment and access that beauty.
Right.
And, for me, you can probably see behind me, I love words. I love my world to talk to me.
Look at that. Yeah.
Okay. So I plaster my space with words. Mm-hmm. It's all around my studio. It's all around the working half of my office. I buy books about words. I follow font designers. It's all this kind of stuff. Yeah. So just really access this thing that turns you on. And and
run with it.
Run with it. Don't be. I can't have a wall like that in my house because Martha Stewart wouldn't approve.
No, please. Yeah, good. Right? Sam, the words that I would give to you right now are: thank you so much for spending this time with me, and
thank you
sharing your heart, and the encouragement to the people around us in this insane time that we're living in. It's going to be interesting, though. It's going to be interesting to look back. So as artists together, and as all of you out there, every one of you, let's work together and make this
and remember,
a better, beautiful place.
We are creative souls. So how do we create a different version of normal that fits us a little bit better?
Where do we go going forward?
Yeah.
There. Let's
kind of like Slady in a way. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And you have such a beautiful, wonderful day. I appreciate
I'm going to.
being
Thank
here.
you.
Love you.